I've just seen the credits roll on Stalker Clear Sky, and I think it's fair to say that I am officially in love with the Stalker series. A few weeks back I uploaded a video where I played the original Stalker for the very first time. It was my entry point into the series in general, and by my channel standards the video done pretty well. And I want to thank everybody who took the time to tell me to play the entire trilogy, because I'm actually loving it. So Clear Sky is actually a prequel to the original Stalker, set 1 year prior to the events of that game. This time around you don't actually play as a Stalker, you are a mercenary, which leads into the whole new faction system of the game, which we'll touch on a bit later. All the great stuff from the first game is here. The map is mostly similar, there are a couple of new areas. You've got the swamp area which you start in, and an impressively scaled town area, which I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name of. But what's interesting is the differences between them, as it is set a year in the past, and with the nature of the zone and its unpredictableness, areas which were once safe or easily traversable are now extremely dangerous, and vice versa. Factions and bandits are in different locations, as they have yet to take over certain parts of the map. Which brings me to one of the bigger changes of this game, the faction system. Factions now have a reputation system, depending on how you act towards them, what missions you complete, if you respond to calls of help through your PDA, or the opposite, if you end up shooting them, killing them, it'll have a negative impact. If you become friendly enough with a faction, you have the option and ability to actually join their faction. This didn't actually happen for me. I was looking to join up with Freedom, but despite doing multiple side missions or responding to help as much as I could, I never quite got the bar high enough to be able to join the faction. I actually got a trophy for finishing the game without joining any faction. Now there did seem to be a bug when entering their kind of base of operations in an area called the Dark Valley. The entrance point that they formed a kind of barricade. No matter what I did, whether my weapon was away, no matter what my reputation was with them, they would open fire and it would just negatively knock down my reputation. It was a little annoying, but I eventually just started running the long way around. There was some changes to the gunplay for good and for bad. The good side is you can now actually upgrade your weapons. At a technician, there are different paths to take. You can make them more accurate, faster fire rates, or do slightly more damage. But the downside to that, like the first one, which early guns were intentionally very inaccurate. No matter how stationary you were, no matter how much you entered the deeper crouch stance, a lot of the time your bullets just missed the mark, and it was that kind of element of realism. But this game, it felt over the top. It was just at a frustrating level. And I don't know whether that's because you obviously have the option to upgrade your guns, so they just lowered the bar of accuracy for stock weapons. I don't know. But any stock weapon, if the accuracy was 50% or lower on its little stat bar, you just weren't hitting anything. It was terrible. But like I said, you could upgrade your weapons. But that brings me to another point, is at first I quite liked it that money felt a lot harder to come by in this game. Artifacts were not just everywhere like the first game, which could be sold for a generous amount of money, and you were never short of money. This game I had the exact opposite, and at 2 points I was actually robbed at point blank. One by some bandits when I entered a new area.
Up right there, buddy. Keep your hands where I can see them. Stay right there, old man. Attaboy. Now just stay right there.
Move, damn it, move!
Another time, it was part of the story, a little cinematic, you get dragged into some basement. They also took my money. So twice, I had to start fresh, financially wise. And it took me a while as well to realize how actively I should be searching for the artifacts. Went into this game blind, much like the first one. I'm not sure if it's the type of game where you're supposed to be reading up, following guides, etc. I don't like to play like that. But it took a while to realize how hidden and out of the way you kind of had to go to find artifacts. And they were always in very dangerous environments, which I liked. But it also just added to the financial struggle of the game. But I did mention earlier, I did like that. It adds that harder difficulty, really making sure you're searching around, looting everything. But on the flip side of that, I really just hardly upgraded any guns. I even had hard times just repairing my armor, having enough to be able to do so. So between guns being vastly more inaccurate and not having a lot of money, the game was more challenging, I thought. I had a harder time with this game than I did the first one. I'm not saying there's a bad thing, because I like a challenge. But the ways it went around it, I would perhaps change a little, mainly around the guns. I believe these games came out, the trilogy, within a year of each other. I believe I read that. So I wasn't expecting any graphical change between them, but I noticed pretty early on that there was a graphical improvement with this game. I'm not sure whether it was just the lighting. There's a slightly brighter atmosphere lighting to the game. I don't know if it's called Clear Sky, and that was just their, little design choice. But weather's quite often sunnier, nicer, but I felt like the guns and the foliage just felt a lot more detailed. The story didn't reach the highs of the first. To be fair, I wasn't expecting it to. I also feel like it really lost that kind of horror aspect to it. I admitted before that the first game really just scared the hell out of me for quite a lot of the game. Whereas this game was just more action orientated. I felt like, there was very few of those basements you were kind of going through that are pitch black with floating things and creaking pipes. And it had lost that side of it. And I did kind of feel like that was part of what I did like about the first game, despite being bloody terrified. So I did think it lost a little something there. But the story itself was a shorter experience. But a lot of you guys, and I admitted myself after my playthrough of the first one, didn't deep dive it as much as other people have, other people would, or if I wasn't making a video for it, would have done myself. So I tried to make sure I spent a little more time just being in the world, talking to as many people as I could, accepting as many side missions, responding to as many calls of distress. So despite it being a shorter game, I had more playtime with it than I did the first game. That being said, I still feel like I missed a ton of what this game had to offer. By the time the credits rolled, on the PlayStation dashboard, it tells you a progression percentage of how much of the game you've completed. Now the main story, 100%, credits rolled, but it actually said I'd only completed 55% of the game. And I presume it's collected in all content into that statistic. So to think that I didn't see just under half of this game is wild. And like I said, I don't know whether it's one of those games where they advise you play with some guide up on a screen, but I didn't turn away from everything. I was accepting kind of everything that came my way, and clearly I still missed a hell of a lot. And I think that's a good thing in a way. It didn't feel like I did, but the fact that that content's there elsewhere for people who want to poke around even more is great. You do actually have the ability to fast travel in this game, which was something I wish was there in the first one. It does cost you money. I think I only used it a handful of times because, like I said, I was a broke-ass bitch for most of the game. But I also didn't want to miss those kind of spontaneous things that happen in these Stalker games. But, and it's a big old but, like the first game, and many of you said in the comments of the last video that I was clearly underprepared for the finale of the game because I mentioned how difficult it was, what a spike in difficulty it was, and just how I wanted to smash my head into the floor trying to get through it. Despite having that in the back of my mind, making sure I was prepared, the ending of this game felt exactly the same. The difficulty spike was huge. it becomes basically a Call of Duty campaign. It becomes an absolute shooter. There's no monsters, no mutants. It is just you and the Monolith faction shooting it out for a long time. Through the new city area I mentioned earlier, through some sunken hospital, all the way through to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. And because it went on for so long and you were in such heavy combat, eventually my armor had fully depleted. Now there's no opportunity to go back at this point. There's no vendors or technicians who you could repair your armor. So I spent a good chunk of the finale with no armor, which meant I died in 2-3 bullets. And there are so many enemies. I slowly just chopped my way through it, saving at every little corner to make sure I wasn't losing ground. But I don't think it needed to be so action orientated. I mean, you literally fight a helicopter at one point.
Shit, we're hit! We're hit! Pull out! Pull out!
The first game had multiple endings. The ending for me, Clear Sky, I literally, credits have just rolled. I've shut the game down and I've started recording just to talk about it. I haven't Googled anything. I don't know if there are multiple endings for Clear Sky, but I would say I was underwhelmed by the ending. It was very strange. Strelok's running around and you're kind of bringing down his electric psi field with this gun that you've just pulled out of your butt. He kind of glitched, and I was able to just take his last half of his health bar down by just shooting him in the face. He was stood still. The enemies in this bit literally teleport open in your face with no cover. It's not good game design, especially when you have no armor. I haven't Googled whether there are multiple endings. I play games organically. This is just my experience with the game. But it left a little to be desired by the end. But you know, if it sounded like I'm bashing the game, I don't want to be, because I loved my time with it more than the first one, even though I think as a whole package the first one's probably a better game. But I don't know whether it's just because I had a better base understanding of it going in. I don't know whether it's because I took more time with the game, but I just really enjoyed it, and I feel like I've really got on board with the Stalker series. I can't wait to play Call of Pripyat? And eventually Stalker 2, which was the reason for wanting to play these games, because I really like the look of Stalker 2. So if you are a big fan of these games and you have played them, feel free to bash me. Let me know what I probably should have done, what I potentially missed. I will be playing the third game in the trilogy, and I'm actually planning on making a little series around it. It's going to be called Day in the Life of a Stalker or something like that, where I played through it. It's not going to be a let's play. It's going to be a edited down storytelling of what I experience in the day-to-day of a stalker within the zone. I'll probably spread it over a good few videos that will span the whole game. So if that's something you like the sound of, consider subscribing, because it'll be the best way for you to find those videos. And yeah, thank you for everybody that really urged me to go on to play the trilogy, because I think I've now found this whole new game series that I absolutely love and can't wait to continue playing. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please drop it a like. I am just a little channel trying to grow. That being said, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.